I was kind of sad that I won't be able to travel this year and to come to the festival, so I'm very glad to be able to participate virtually. I was very interested in, I always work in very kind of very zoomed in and a great, we're seeing all the textures, and specifically with this one, you're really seeing the texture of the paper, and to me, that always looks like skin. So when we're so up close to them and zoomed in, you can, to me, always paper is really close to skin, and I was very intrigued by working with water and all the materials that are more unpredictable, like ink and watercolor. So most of the drawings were actually done underwater, the ones where the color allows for it. So the paper is submerged underwater, and I would do them like this, creating the ink drawings. There's about 10. There are not that many. They're scanned just to allow for the greater resolution. I first started working on the black and white ones, and then so half of the film is black and white, and then the second portion is the color things. And this way, what I experienced and what I saw is very different also from the end result, which I'm very interested in that difference in something like seen and unseen, and how it looks like in the action and how it looks like later on as the mark, the what is left there. So the way that ink flows in water to me is very similar to that sensation of touch and how it flows and how we experience it, is like body responses that are deeper than reason, and just yeah, so that's how it all kind of began, and then that's the film. So everything is on paper, and they're not very big. They're just big. So they're not very big, but they're really enlarged. They're very, very, like, extremely enlarged. And I've always approached film as a sensation. So working this way to me was, you really experience it, and you're working with these materials that you can't really control, especially like a wet medium in even more wet environment. But yeah, they're not very big, and they're just very, very extremely large. Yeah, in the beginning, when I started working in the black and white, I wasn't sure if I'll continue in color, but then they were reacting in such interesting ways that I knew I wanted to, pursue it and continue and move on with that. So visually, we would get that variety as well, and me experiencing the process in the different mediums was also very interesting. And the sound that you're hearing is field recordings that I did of water, because I was doing research on water and how we're using it in different customs and how it's perceived. So I was doing field recordings, and they were just really, I realized as I was working on it that they're very intertwined. So all the sound is of field recordings that I completed for it. To me, it's always very interesting working with these materials that they're very unpredictable, and they look very different. You don't really know how they're going to look at the end, and that's something I embrace in my work, not trying to control everything and just seeing how they progress by themselves. Yeah, and allow for materials to just be indeterminate and just do things by themselves, and just embracing that chaotic result.